and 6. Countdown.
Yeah.
4-7.
Blast off.
Well,
I was hoping I was, you did see. Okay, we're good.
Come on. Oh, okay. Clock's not running, but we'll go ahead anyway, I guess.
It'll work, I promise.
Okay. Hey, there we go. All right. I will open this meeting of the DeKalb County Commissioners, and today's date is July 3rd, 2023. Dottie, we're going to slide Larry in front of you. He's got a real quick.
so we talked about the restrooms on second floor.
Right.
So I got with Derek and I had him give me a quote on painting. For the women's restroom, $36.60. And for the men's, $29.80. And that is painting the restroom and the hallways that go in and out. I did talk to Northside Plumbing Heating and told him what I had. He said if I could take one of them out and bring it down to him so he could, and I took pictures of the sink for the faucets,
Yeah,
so.
they've probably got new old stock from 1930, you know, sitting on the shelves.
Yeah, yeah. So I haven't done it yet, but I have talked to him about it.
What's our options on those faucets if they can't be replaced?
He almost assured me that he could
He could.
do something.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
I feel pretty confident that he's going to be able to do something with it.
Okay, we'll go with that for now then.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, gentlemen? What's your thoughts?
$36.60 to paint the women's restroom and $29.80.
Yeah, and
It's
yeah.
dated.
It's been a while since it's been,
Yeah.
Does that include fixing like our ceiling?
It's
It's not just the paint, it's
Yeah.
fixing it all and,
Yeah.
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 I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep.
it's got some, the women's is kind of, what would you call it? The col-
Ancient?
It wakes you up when you walk in there, kind of. Yeah. But anyway, Mike, thoughts?
it's long overdue. I think we ought to go ahead and do it. Definitely need those faucets replaced. And whatever inside guts in the toilets and just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a spruce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ought to be on kind of on a maintenance plan situation every X number of years anyway, so.
Motion?
I'll move that we go ahead and proceed with updating the second floor restrooms per the quote that Larry got.
Motion and second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you, Larry. A little side note on these restrooms, they have been reversed. The men's used to be the women's, the women's used to be the
I
men's.
thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I said something to Clint about it,
Yeah.
and he goes, back in the day, there used to be more men working here than there
Yeah.
were women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The urinals are still in the men's or in the women's, that restroom,
Yeah.
but they're covered
Boxed
up with
in.
cabinetry.
Yeah. anything else while I'm here?
I think that's it.
Okay.
We like the stand, like where it's
I
at.
think that turned out really good. I mean, it looks good. It's,
Yeah,
It's not going to collapse.
it's not going to collapse, everybody can see it.
yep. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, Larry. All right, Dottie,
I'm up next.
you're up next.
All right. Okay. Well, one of the things that happened last week was our current code enforcement official turned in his resignation. And I was fairly certain that you guys wanted to continue that position. It's, to remind you, it's 10 hours, up to 10 hours per week, Monday through Friday. You'd prefer a law enforcement, building construction trades, real estate, or engineering background. And Chris and I talked about it, and he's still, everything seems to be the same. Even though we've had someone in there, we thought, well, did we need to tweak our job description or our posting? And no, he thought pretty much, we can keep it the same. Maybe down the road, because our current official said that there are times when he really could have put, more hours in just because of the volume of complaints that had come in. But, Chris said, well, that's, kind of a higher low, and maybe we'll just hang on for a little bit longer to see, stay at 10 hours a week. So if you guys are all right with that, we're going to go ahead and post for that and see. Over the weekend, I sent the posting to our law enforcement and fire chiefs around the area because that just seemed to work out pretty well. It's that sort of mentality that I think you want in that position, and it worked out really well with the current one. So went ahead and let them know that we had that opening. So we'll see if that generates anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you posted that also in the normal way on the
Yep,
internet?
we've got it in the normal way too. Oh, so they're the abnormal way. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I guess maybe the other way around, but yeah, just in
Yep.
case. Might be
Yep,
somebody
got it.
retired, it's,
Yeah,
Go
got it
for
in
it.
the regular spots, our regular usual spots, but wanted, because of that sort of area, I try to target things when I can, so, yep. We still have the registered nurse opening. Cheryl and I are going to do a telephone interview on Wednesday evening. The highway maintenance, of course, we still have that opening available, CDL drivers. I don't know how many people actually stop by and fill out an application, Community corrections, they will need a facilitator or facility officer. They had somebody leave, so we'll need to refill that one. And they still have their building maintenance supervisor, the part-time position. They've had that maintenance position since they opened the building. I did have a meeting with Michelle and Brian from Central Communications regarding Central's need for someone such as that and what they could do. So we kind of opened up the conversation about, well, would it behoove the county to have a full-time person who dealt with that building and then Central Communications? You have those departments are kind of that, out of the way buildings. We also don't have a maintenance person for Sunny Meadows. We don't have a maintenance person really for the highway department. And so Larry's department is pretty much courthouse and downtown annex centric, although he's just been a real dear about if the Sunny Meadows needed some advice, or community corrections, their part-time person needed some advice, what vendor do you use for this, or what would you do if you had this situation? So it's kind of just in the opening thoughts. And those guys are really thinking about what their needs are before they come before you guys to ask about changing anything. So, but I'll tell you, we haven't had a successful recruitment of this part-time building maintenance person, either this time or even the first time. So, it ended up being successful because we did have somebody who worked for us from the beginning, from 2020. But now we're, in the need again, and I'm not really getting qualified people. So that's kind of it for hiring. The sheriff's office is doing really well, and we have taken down the postings, confinement officer, and we will just wait for the next time that comes around. So far, so good with that. We talked before, I brought up the PUMP Act, the Providing Urgent Maternal Protections for Nursing Mothers Act, that went into force already, and the change that I felt we needed to put into the employee handbook. That was, we have currently nursing mothers. It's 6.9 in the employee handbook, but I really felt that we needed to do some tweaking to make it apply to all the federal and rules now that is now in place. So I gave that to you guys a couple weeks ago, and we said that we would revisit it today. And so your thoughts, and are we ready to go ahead and have you approve it so that I can get it into the employee handbook?
What do you think, Mike? Todd? Thoughts?
Not much you can do besides put it in there. Yeah.
It does, yes, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's probably what we need to do.
I would agree with that from legal standpoint.
Probably.
Thank you,
motion.
Counselor.
You're welcome.
Need a motion on that, I think. Yep.
I'll move that we insert the
Pump Act,
Pump
yes.
Act policy into the employee handbook.
A motion and a second. Are there any other additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Wonderful. Well, I will get that rolling this month so that we can get it, officially, have everybody sign off, all of that. We had a request from Parkview. They are already looking at their 2022 scheduling of wellness events like we've had in the past. And so they contacted me about a March date, March of 2024, and I put them off a little bit, mainly because, we're working on the clinic idea. And, how would that work? Would we'd have the same capabilities if we have a clinic to have the same sorts of details and tests done, at the clinic. And so I'm going to hold them off for a little bit until you guys make some decisions on the clinic. And if that is something that we end up doing, through the clinic as opposed to through Parkview. So,
Thoughts on that? Todd, Mike? I think you probably need to go ahead and schedule with Parkview.
I think,
Yeah, that's my opinion, that we're not ready to do the clinic. Yeah, I'd say go ahead and schedule it.
Okay, all righty, yeah. Well, at least we'll get on their schedule. And then if things change, then, we can certainly change, yeah. The main focus for the last several weeks in my department has been the health plan. And so everything really has been working pretty well. Of course, you have glitches come up, and it's a big change. We had all new information had to go into spreadsheets for the medical side, for the dental vision side, and then on all of the life, the accidental death and dismemberment, the voluntary disabilities, yeah, all of that. So between payroll and HR, we've been putting a lot of hours in, a lot of data entry. I am waiting this morning. I hadn't had an email or a call yet from UHC Surest about the going live with the website, but I do understand that one of our employees did get into the website and was able to register and got her ID card. So that was, after, of course, I had sent my email on Saturday about, we didn't get this, the email telling us, giving us all the details, and then I get that message. So anyway, working on that, hoping to, as smooth a transition as we possibly can. As I said, this was a huge undertaking for the county, and there are still details that have to be ironed out. How are we paying our bills? The auditor's office is working on that. And just making sure that our employees know that if they enrolled in the health plan, they are covered. And so just a bunch of details to work out. So I think it's going pretty well. We're still waiting for a few people who, were on vacation and some of their paperwork. And thank you, Todd. Other than that, it's moving. I think it's moving really well. The communication, I will say, among the standard UHC Surest, our broker, it's been really wonderful. I've been very, very happy. I know, Bill, I mentioned that to you the other day when you popped in, to sign some paperwork. It really has been very open and, walking us through things. So we've really appreciated that.
Big step.
It's a huge step, and glitches happen. Everybody, knows what it's like to implement a new program, and there's always a little, stumbling blocks, but we will get through those, and I think it'll be a really great program for us all.
Yeah. And I'm sure in the future there may be some tweaks to it.
Right, yes.
Obviously, as we go along, see how it works out.
Always is.
We'll
always.
tweak it if we need to. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Good start.
it's a great start. I think it's a great start for us, financially, and the types of benefits that we're able to offer as an employer to our employees. The last thing that I have on my agenda is that I was informed last week that Human Resources as a department of county government is being recognized now as an affiliate through the Association of Indiana Counties, much like the auditor's office, the surveyor's office, highway. And so I'm just really pleased that it's been acknowledged that it's an important department. Now, not every county government has an HR department. Often, it's the payroll clerk in the auditor's office that gets dumped on, and those guys have to run with whatever. And so it'll be, we'll be official HR affiliate as of the AIC conference in September. So I was really, really thrilled to get that notification. So some legitimacy to Human Resources. So, anyway, that is all that I have. What do you have for me?
Are you going to talk about the spousal
What?
carve out?
Oh, the spousal carve-out, thank you. Duh. Yep. Okay. Sent everybody an email on changing the way that we have been doing the spousal carve-out. Now, if you think way back to whenever that was put in place with the county, and that has been a big savings for a lot of employers. The big one in this county was Auburn Foundry. I can remember when they put that in place. Auburn Foundry employees, of course, being union, had fantastic health coverage, and so spouses were on the health plan. And then in order for them to save some money, they came up with, this plan that if the spouse was offered health insurance at their place of employment, they had to go on that. That was a way for Auburn Foundry as an employer to try to cut some costs and try to stay in business. Well, okay. So anyway, whenever the county did it, great. I'm sure that it did. Well, now that we are self-insured and we are paying the bills no matter what, I think we need to discuss whether or not county employees who are married to each other, we have two employees, they are married to each other, and offer them the opportunity to either do employee and spouse, totally up to them, whichever one is the employee, whichever one is the spouse. We already, have many couples. I'd say a handful. Okay, many. And right now, they are employee only, which truly is cheaper than employee and spouse, but that's up to them. And then when you do employee and children, of course, our out-of-pocket max bumps up to $10,000, whereas an employee only is only $5,000. So then if you look at the family unit, they're now at $15,000 instead of if they were employee and, or just family coverage, they would be $10,000. So I'm sure you guys would have to bless it. As I'm looking at the document that we have, we could probably change it to except for county government employees who are married to county government employees, or, we would figure out some sort of verbiage to actually put on our spousal carve-out. But, also to keep every other spousal carve-out in place. So I think I've explained that.
That was a recommendation from the broker as well.
Yes,
correct?
yeah, mm-hmm, yeah. It is.
From the legal standpoint, if I can jump in on that, it seems like that's would be fine so long as it's approved through the insurance companies or through, what is it, Apex or whoever it is.
Yeah, that's the broker, and
the
then,
broker or through their legal department. If they say, hey, this is okay to do this, I wouldn't have a problem with it from the legal standpoint.
Mic on.
Thank you. Just a point, the savings that is incurred when you have the spousal carve-out comes from the spouse having a different employer.
Right.
Since we're the same employer, there's really no savings to us. Now, the two employees that are married to each other would hopefully take the single plan because it does save them money because of the way you've set up the premium for them. Where the difference comes in is where it's the family coverage. By adding that extra $5,000, and you're really not saving the county anything one way or the other, but you are saving the families something. And we do have at least two couples, maybe possibly a third, and others that have gone through this in the past that the situation no longer exists. But the spousal carve-out savings if a spouse works for a different employer, not for the county.
Right. Thoughts?
I agree.
I don't have a problem with it.
Makes sense.
You just need our blessing? Is that-
I do. I would really like your blessing, please. And then mainly because why I want it so quickly is before we get too far into this new plan year, and then we can go back and let those married couples know this is an option for them. And if anyone would like to avail themselves of it, then we can do that very quickly with our premiums.
I would like to at least have a motion and a vote since we're actually changing from what we currently did.
Okay. Motion?
That we allow the,
County employees married to each other to select whatever
Married
plan is
county
most.
employees to be on one plan versus separate plans.
yes. that-
Yep,
Yeah.
up to them.
So moved, thank you.
Gotcha.
I'll certainly second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Wonderful. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Anything else for Dottie?
Hey, Dottie, just a little tidbit, the agent not to be named here
Yeah.
used to work for Apex. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I knew that from the beginning, actually. Yeah.
Had I known
did.
that, I might have thought twice about working with Apex, but obviously
Oh,
that-
no. And it has been a while since he was gone, and part of the issue was that he was using clients that had been with Apex as a part of his references. And, from when, those days when that person worked at Apex.
Okay.
And it was actually because I had originally, when that whole situation came up, I had asked my HR network, anybody work with that person? And one of those individuals from my HR network actually got with Bill Sylvester, and that was my first contact with him. And it was like, I don't mean to speak badly about somebody, however, and then he was very honest and open about the situation and how it had come about. So I did. Yep.
Makes me feel better.
Yeah. It's like, right, good decision. Yep.
Anything else? I see Sheriff Brady has stepped out. Let's talk a little bit about this maintenance position until he comes back.
Yep.
A reminder, we've added a assistant maintenance man to the courthouse. And so I'm not sure how we move forward, whether we just continue with the part-time at community corrections or expand on that. But right now, I'm thinking we leave it as is, but that's just my opinion. But,
Yeah, I think that's, makes sense for, see where it goes.
yeah.
Right,
I don't see
exactly.
any
Yeah.
need to change things right now.
Yeah.
Right. But we had a really great discussion about it and, where it would land and just what it would look like. And those guys are working kind of behind the scenes for find out more information before they come to you.
I think if there's a problem at Central Dispatch, it wouldn't be out of line to ask Larry or Evan to go out there and take care of it.
Yeah, historically, it's been,
Bill Knoll was doing that anyway, I
Yeah,
believe,
yeah.
so.
in the job descriptions, it says basically county-owned properties.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty open, for all of those, so.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and post it as is.
Yeah, well, it's still out there.
Right.
It is out there, and we will continue to see, just who we get and go from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any need for me to be here for that executive session you have scheduled later?
I don't think so. No.
Right. Okay.
We're good.
All right. Great. All right.
Yeah.
Dottie.
Sheriff Brady, you are up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a couple of things to present this morning. The first
thing is to promote 2 deputies to the position of sergeant. We have 2 open sergeant positions at the sheriff's office. One of them was created, it was a new position created to cover one of our shifts. We had a shift change around, so we now have 4 shifts. We had 3 sergeants before, so one of them was created by that. The other one was vacated by a person that went into the detective's position. So sergeant at the sheriff's office, they're responsible for their shift. They perform staff evaluations. They ensure the sheriff's office policies are being followed on a daily basis. They lead by example, and they develop deputies in which they're charged with supervising. We had 6 deputies that applied for this position. They each completed a written examination and also a sheriff's merit board interview. The 2 deputies that were chosen to be promoted were deputies Ben Browen and Deputy Brett Parker. They're both here this morning. Both of you could step up this way. Deputy Ben Browen right here to my right, he's an 8-year member of the sheriff's office. He started working in the jail in 2010 and was also a reserve for the Auburn Police Department. In 2012, he started working full-time for the Waterloo Marshal's office, and then in 2015 came to the sheriff's office. Deputy Brown's a coordinator for our Operation Pullover program, and he's also a training coordinator and less lethal instructor. Deputy Brett Parker is a 6-year member of the sheriff's office. He began his service to this country in the United States Marine Corps, and in 2014, he became full-time employment at the Ashley Police Department. Deputy Parker came to the sheriff's office back in 2017, and he's a firearms, taser, less lethal, and a defensive tactics instructor for the sheriff's office. He also serves as a valuable team member for the Addiction Treatment Court, the Family Restoration Court, and also the Veterans Treatment Court. Attention to orders. The DeKalb County Merit Board has reposed special trust, confidence, integrity, and abilities of Deputy Ben Browen. In view of these qualities, demonstrating leadership, potential, and dedicated service to the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, Ben Browen is therefore advanced by the DeKalb County Merit Board and Sheriff Brady Thomas from the rank of deputy to the rank of sergeant, effective today, July 3rd, 2023. Attention to orders. The DeKalb County Merit Board has reposed special trust, confidence, integrity, and abilities of Deputy Brett Parker. In view of these qualities, demonstrating leadership potential and dedicated service to the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, Brett Parker is therefore advanced by the DeKalb County Merit Board and Sheriff Brady Thomas from the rank of deputy to the rank of sergeant, effective today, July 3rd, 2023.
Both sides.
And that concludes the promotion ceremony. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
The next item on the agenda is in reference to a SRO, School Resource Officer position with the county. The Sheriff's Office currently has a memorandum of understanding with East Side, Garrett, and DeKalb Central Schools. We supply one deputy, one full-time deputy to each of those schools to provide SRO services. The school reimburses the county for their salary, and the county does pay the benefits for those deputies. DeKalb Central Schools would like to add a second full-time SRO to their staff. The Sheriff's Office would like to supply the deputy, but they need to be replaced on the road. So what we would like to do is take a full-time deputy that has the road experience and place them into the school per their request. But therefore, we would need to replace that deputy on the road to work that schedule. DeKalb Central is a rather large school district. It comprises of 6 buildings. If the county is willing to provide a second SRO, it would have a significant impact on the safety of the schools. This person can also assist with any emergency calls that are outside of the school. At times when school is not in session, they can also assist with patrol duties and help cover the schedule. A similar MOU would be in place. The district would reimburse the county for the salary of the SRO. The county would pay the benefits from that. The numbers I was given by the auditor could range anywhere from $43,000 to $60,000 to cover the benefits of that second SRO. I believe the added safety and security that a second SRO would provide far outweighs the cost. Today, I'm requesting approval for an additional spot to replace the deputy on the road so that we can supply the SRO to the school district. That would start in August.
I have a question. Say 43 to 63,000. I'm just wondering how they come up with those numbers.
The numbers that were given to me from the auditor, the sheriff's pension is $29,000 that the county pays. Social Security and Medicare are $4,000. And insurance can vary or range anywhere from, depending on what plan they were on, from $10,000 to $30,000.
FICA taxes too.
School. The whole year. Yeah, yeah. The school pays roughly $55,000 towards the salary. So it just depends on who's in there. They also pay a couple of $1,000s to towards a vehicle allowance, and I think $2,000 to help reimburse for some of the equipment that's used there. Yeah.
We got too many conversations going on here, away from the mic.
It's being asked whether the school pays only for the school year or not. I guess maybe that depends on how you look at it, but the expense, it's $55,000 a year is what they pay the county.
Would the school be willing to pay for the benefits for the second officer? I think we've went this long with only one, and I'm not opposed to a second officer. But if this is for the school, at least pay part of the benefit for the duration of the school year at least. That would be my recommendation. What do you think?
The school year hasn't started.
I understand that.
So you're wanting them to pay until December, or you're wanting them to pay all the time?
I think they should pay from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year.
Each year?
Yeah.
Susan, I don't remember exactly, but I thought that the school only reimbursed the actual school year. And we paid that person's salary for the summer. But assuming that there's vacations and everything else.
The $55,000 is the salary for a year.
For the full
calendar year,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And that is all paid by the school.
Okay, good.
What do you think? School pay the benefits, at least 9 months?
It seems we're already trying to obtain road deputies, and we're getting them, thanks to you. But we're still struggling. I think it's a great idea to have another one, but the school's the school with their tax money. We're a county with our tax money, and even though they're supplying the salary, you add up another 50 to 60 grand in benefits. I don't think that's a wise choice for our taxpayers. You could maybe even put out someone private security out there for less money than that yearly. I know it wouldn't be an officer, don't get me wrong, there's a difference there.
There's complications
I'm
there,
just
but-
saying, that's a lot of money to lay out on, when we're already short road deputies.
And we have to train that additional deputy that we hired to replace this deputy.
If we hire someone, we gotta send them
He's
to
got to
school
go
too.
to academy.
There's nothing to be lost by asking the school if they would be willing to participate in the benefit side of things.
At least for like 9 months
Yeah.
or something. I think we need to ask the school to, in my opinion, the 9 months. I think that would be very fair.
Yeah.
Good point, though, we
I'm a
have.
big supporter of the school resource officer
Sure.
program.
Yeah, I think it's a great program. I just think we have to be careful there on, especially on positions that we're already short. And then, like
too.
Bill said, we have to retrain. If we hire a new guy, he's got to go to the academy, so.
And we're only talking about them paying the benefits on the one additional.
Right.
Everything else is staying the same.
Right, yeah, I wouldn't pull that away from them, but I think if we're gonna add more to our plate, they should kick in, yes.
That's something I can check on and report back.
Let's do that.
Appreciate that.
Any other comments? Commissioners or the public? Yes, sir.
From the tactical side of things, the second officer there is very, very necessary. The middle school is usually a hot spot for activity because it's a very tough time for kids. The last shooting that happened in Tennessee, that school was selected for that because there was no SRO on scene. It's in the documentation that the shooter had, that they chose that school because there wasn't an SRO. We live in a very peaceful community, but I do not want our community to make the news because of that type of situation. I understand the cost and benefits, the budget and all that, but looking at the big picture, I think the kids are more important overall than money, from my standpoint. The deputies also cover some on the road. In other words, if there's something close, they cover. They don't leave the school for a long period of time, but they help patrol the parking lots. They do a lot of stuff. And with as many schools as we have in our county, our SRO program is really down. The school outside of Ashley has visits from officers, not a full-time SRO. But the high school and middle school are such hot spots for activity, not only from the students, but also all the way around. Sporting events, everything. This is where I think the SROs and the K-9 programs in the school will do a lot of good. Just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments? Okay, yeah, Dave. State your name and address.
Dave Holt, 1297 County Road 19, Waterloo. Got a son going to be a freshman, high school, daughters in middle school, twins at Country Meadows that have a resource officer show up intermittently in the mornings when we're delivering the kids. Then after kids get in, he leaves. I support a new SRO. I think we need one. I do agree with Todd, shared cost, and I think we should ask the school to see what they could do. But in the end, I think we do need another SRO.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Okay, Sheriff, I guess proceed with the request to the school and we can go on from there.
Okay.
Anything else today?
Yeah, one more thing. I thought that Jack from IT was going to be here. This is really a program his department was looking at buying. I thought I was going to be here to answer questions about that if they did come up, but I can speak on it really quickly. I had talked with IT about purchasing maintenance software. It's about $5,000 a year for the subscription, and we can use it at the jail. It can also be used by community corrections or any other county facilities. We currently don't have anything at all to manage any maintenance within our facilities. When my maintenance person came on board, there was no information anywhere whatsoever other than being handed keys and go figure it out. There's no planning at all as far as what would need replaced and when it would need replaced or how much money went into that mechanical component. What this software would allow is the management of all of that. You can put in all of your components, the lifespan of them, when they were purchased, how much maintenance has gone into them, when preventative maintenance needs to be done. You can do work orders through it, so other employees can use that system to submit the work order to the maintenance staff, and then there's a workflow within that. The package that it starts with, the square footage is up to $100,000 under this one price point. The jail is 28,000 square foot. So community corrections, I had talked with them and they're interested in using this software also, which I think is ideal, whether it's an older facility like the jail or a brand new facility like Central Community Corrections. Is that getting managed? The components out there, are they being tracked and preventive maintenance being done as it should to preserve that asset for the county? I think that's something to look at. So again, this was something that IT was going to purchase from their department. So I don't know that I'm really requesting anything other than I was here to talk about the benefits of having that maintenance.
We have the agreement here, so if you guys are in acceptance of it, we need you to motion to approve it and have Bill sign. And it is from Jack, and Jack has sent it to Andrew, and Andrew approved it.
So can this software, can you input like recommended manufacturers' maintenance schedules, and it alerts you, hey, the service track B on the main elevator is due for its hydraulic test?
Yeah, I know that it does have alerts, and it will give you notifications when preventive maintenance needs to be done on the different components. Mm-hmm. And another nice feature of it is the tracking of, we have a chiller at the jail that a lot of money's been put into, arguably more than the value of it at this point. Maybe if something like this had been in effect at that time, then maybe we'd have a new chiller rather than be upside down on the current one.
Yeah, if it tracked expenses we've spent on it too, along with, you start seeing a good trend.
The only thing, definitely. The only thing we can do right now is have the person that manages our bills go back through and try to find invoices for a common vendor we typically use for that, and then try to add all those together.
Like any good software, though, it needs to be very user-friendly to want people enter information. I've seen people get this software before. They're in a hurry like everyone else in business. They take the receipt, the auditor pays it, and it never gets put in the system. Mm-hmm. And the only problem I see going forward is people not entering the data. If you don't enter the data, it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I sat down with the maintenance person and talked about that it's only as valuable as the information you put into it. Mm-hmm. So if you're not managing it or you're not putting information in, then it's completely worthless. So
I think it's a great idea. I think you put your vehicles in service in it. Also, anything that has a lifespan or a maintenance schedule should be in there, and along with set up properly with reminders.
Yeah,
this is due. Like the oil change minder in your car. This is due. Saves you a lot of money when you change oil at 4,000 instead of 42,000. So
yeah, sure. I agree with you. I think it would effectively pay for itself over time.
Yeah.
You said Community Corrections was interested also?
Yes.
Would this be a combined contract?
It would be.
It would be.
They can all fit underneath that contract because it fits underneath, the price points are based on the square footage of the facility. So it doesn't matter if you have 10 facilities or one, as long as you're managing square foot that's under that $100,000 square foot.
How many square foot is the jail roughly?
28,000.
And communities?
6?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that
So
one.
we could cover the courthouse too then, obviously.
That was mentioned that the courthouse would also fit within it.
Yeah.
How much was the money?
It was roughly $5,000 a year, which, like I said, Jack was going to take out his budget from his department. I think it was a matter of the commissioners approving the contract for it.
You know, a program like this, first of all, I don't think anybody's tracking these things in any of our buildings, just because we don't have the necessary programs and whatnot. But you know, we could use this for all of our buildings, and it would help us maintain. You know, a number of years ago, the council started a 5-year capital plan for our capital budget. And this would help us maintain that, because one of the things we're finding is they've added the things they think need to be into that plan, but, oh, this got missed or that got missed, and we keep adding to it. And we need to be looking at what our expenses are, not just for next year, but for that 5 years in the future. Because so often we keep pushing things off to the point where we're not going to have that cash in that year when we need it, because we've pushed things off so much. So this would help us immensely. And I think that if it's going to come from Jack's budget, it needs to be available to all of our buildings and all of our departments.
And it can also be transferred from facility to facility. So if there's a jail in the county's future, it could also be used for that. And like I said, I think it's important, whether it's an old facility, an aging facility, or a brand new one, to start out on the right foot with a new facility, such as, community corrections.
What do you think? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to read a little more about it. I think I'm for it. I just would like to see, is there any demonstration of the software available that I can go online and?
I know my maintenance person has viewed all that, so yes, I know it's all out there.
Would he share that with me?
Yeah, we can get that information too.
Maybe I can just sit down with him for 15 minutes. I just kind of like to see it in action.
Yeah.
Because like I said, some of the software is wonderful, but if it's written so crazy that, it's a lot of times with these off-the-shelf blanket programs, some programs are written specifically for jails, some are written specifically for car dealers. And this sounds like a blanket, hey, we can manage your assets, your maintenance assets. I just like to see it touch and feel on this type of stuff.
Adding all the buildings might price.
Yeah, it said up to 100,000 square foot. I
Right.
think we're gonna be, I'm not sure we have 100,000 square foot of buildings total. This courthouse is big, that's probably. Yeah, like a new highway department, and can you carve out part of the highway department like the cold storage building? That's 20,000 foot there, you can carve right out, so.
Yeah.
I'd like to read more about it.
Let's
Table it for a week.
wait.
If I could,
Get
who's
back
your
to-
maintenance?
Ken Rao.
Okay, would you ask Ken to get a hold of me, and I'm free about any time if he'd sit down with me for 15 minutes.
Sure.
and
Yeah.
Give me an overview.
No problem.
We can get through that this week and get that done. We'll
Anytime.
take
I
it
like
up
the
next
idea,
week.
though.
Okay.
Are
Okay.
you okay with just the contract coming back with us, or do you want them in attendance next week
No,
also?
you don't need to come back. I think we can
Okay,
vote on it.
so I'll handle it on this side of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That'll work. Okay, anything else?
That's all for me.
All right, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
We'll see ya.
All right. Well, let's jump over into payroll biweekly. Pay the people?
I think it's a payroll holiday.
Yeah, okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I thought it was serious.
Motion and second to approve
I'm just
payroll.
waiting.
Any additional comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. Payroll is approved. The Lair project.
Yeah. So there's been a couple of meetings on the whole Lair project situation, and Nellie couldn't be here today, so I told her I'd try to fill in. There were only two bids for that project. One bid was non-responsive because they didn't file all the proper bid bond and so forth with it. The other bid was more than 10% over the engineer's estimate. So after some conversation with Andrew and Rod Rankenberger and everybody really associated with that project, it was pretty much decided that the best route was just to reject the bids and rebid the project and go from there. Now,
Also, there was, and you may be bringing this up shortly, but there was increased funding available too, it sounds like.
yeah. So the meeting with Rod Rankenberger and the other group in the Lair project, Maumee River Basin Commission Rod is going to recommend to the board at our next Maumee River Basin Commission meeting that the commission fund up to $100,000 on that project too. So if we're using the bids now, that would leave $140,000 unfunded, but split between the city of Auburn and the county. Again, we're going to toss those bids out and rebid it. But the way the bids were returned was weird anyway. There were some options in there that weren't part of the bid request, and it was just needs to be tightened up and rebid.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah.
It's,
Check the bids and
Yep.
resubmit and look at what the additional funding is.
Yep.
Get rid of those bucket trees.
I think you need to have probably an official vote on it as well,
That's my vote.
by
Is that a
acclamation.
motion?
Oh, I gotta do a,
reject the bids.
will this software take care of this for us to where it'll automatically be like AI that he wants and says motion, it'll make the motion and then automatically second because it knows what we're thinking and then say yes? If so, I want that software right now.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Right now, I'm your AI.
My motion is to reject both bids and pursue new bids and also the extended funding.
Second.
Motion is second. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Bids are rejected. Okay.
By the way, who would control the computer programming for the AI? Would that be Susan controlling the decisions or me? Just
You will be the AI.
maybe Susan over here.
You have to draw straws every Monday.
Right,
Oh,
right.
Lord.
Okay, let's jump over into claims. Get a chance to look at the claims.
I did.
I'll move to approve them.
I will second that.
Motion and second to approve claims. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Claims are approved. Minutes. Everybody read the minutes? Any problems? Corrections? Additions?
You see anything?
I didn't have any.
Is that a motion and a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same?
Is that Todd then, Mike?
Yes.
Thank you.
Or Mike and Todd. You don't,
Okay.
they're
Whatever.
almost one and the
Just
same.
don't correct
They're
it
almost
next
one and the same. All right, our favorite travel. How much?
I'll move to approve travel.
Second.
Well, if you want to do that, that's fine.
All those, or additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Travel is approved.
Didn't want to reject travel and get tasered.
Yeah, that'd be
Taser
bad.
training.
Miscellaneous topics.
Yeah, we will.
Anyone?
I have to do all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all kinds,
Oh, of course you do.
Always has.
right? Was this scanned in?
Let her go for a week, comes back.
Right. Okay, so you guys all had the commissary report. We need to acknowledge receipt of that.
So acknowledged.
Second.
A motion and a second to acknowledge the commissionary report. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. That is for the sheriff, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, what else you got, Susan?
1 second. Okay, so then we also had The ROI organization, they are requesting to use the courthouse lawn for group pictures on July 9th at 2 p.m.
Okay, discussion?
How does this compare to what other applications we've had and?
Similar, I would say.
And if we deny.
I would say probably most people don't even ever ask to take
I
pictures
know.
on the lawn.
Yeah, they just show up and do it. I mean, it's,
Is this, what is ROI?
Republicans with other ideas.
My thought, I think, initially was what Susan said in the standpoint that probably most citizens just take pictures, or most groups take pictures, so maybe it's something that almost doesn't need an application. Second one is I looked at the ordinance and it says it has to be a nonprofit, which I think something in your ordinance or resolution R10, I think the entity has to be a nonprofit. Does that sound right, Susan? I think that's what I read in there.
I haven't read it for a while.
And I would assume that any Republican organization would be, or Democratic organization is probably nonprofit of some sort.
Necessarily, if it's a PAC or something like that, it's not
That's
a
true.
nonprofit.
That's true.
So how is this organization organized?
And I don't know. But yeah.
Andrew, would you like to speak to that?
Yep.
Andrew Provines, 3920 County Road 75, Butler, Indiana. It is a PAC. That's how it's organized.
is it, are the purposes just for pictures, or is it
The purpose is,
demonstrations? Or
no, not demonstrations, not speaking, just pictures.
You're going, come up, take pictures, and then leave?
Yeah. The courthouse is a beautiful structure.
Oh, I did my pictures in front of
Yeah,
it,
no,
so I
it's
get
just a
that.
beautiful structure, so we thought we'd formally, request permission to actually just take pictures in front of it.
The ordinance says the applicant must be a not-for-profit entity. So it is a PAC, a non-for-profit entity, I guess. It's not officially 501c3,
Right.
but it's not making profit.
Right.
So I don't know.
Does it have a
It's not
non-for-profit
a
designation?
501.
eh?
I'd have to look it up. There was verbiage in there during the application of that, I know, because I obviously did my own for the running as commissioner, and that, the PAC and all those are in there. And they say there's non-for-profit verbiage in there, but it's not specifically like a 501c3, 501c4.
501, you would have gotten a ruling from the IRS that says you're a 501, C whatever, 3, 4,
Right.
5, 6. So,
Yep, it says not-for-profit entity based in DeKalb County. That's kind of a broad thing.
yeah.
And it sounds like this is maybe the sort of thing that people don't even get approval for normally anyway.
Well, it
Well,
just
I know,
says.
and I don't object. I just want to make sure we're treating everybody fairly.
Yeah.
Yep.
2 months ago, we told Scan that they couldn't put their little pinwheel display on the courthouse lawn.
We
so
don't
I-
intend to put any pinwheels on the courthouse lawn.
Yeah,
But it just says it's a non-for-profit. It doesn't say that it's a federally exempted non-for-profit,
Correct.
right?
It does not say that.
See, so it's technically is a non-for-profit, just not a federally recognized.
Yep. Mm-hmm. In other words, non-for-profit would be almost anything that's other than for-profit,
Yes,
would be one way to view that.
like my job.
Okay, well,
sounds like me and a commissioner.
That's what I mean. I don't have a problem with it for that reason. I think,
No, I don't either.
we just need to make sure we're not,
Yep.
things like the Ku Klux Klan want to be on our lawn and,
Well, that's a can of worms. We
I
have
just
to be
don't want to see
cautious
any
about.
demonstrations and fights and,
No,
if we don't have that, it's not a problem.
Well, we've been requiring everybody to use the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That last, what was that one that we had with the armed militia on the
Yeah,
corners and stuff?
but they were here to demonstrate
Right,
and,
but we made them stay on the sidewalk.
yeah, and which was correct.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and didn't apply
absolutely.
for a permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't apply for a permit either. They just, they stood out there with guns, which was
Okay.
I don't have any
interesting.
objection to, if it's just
Motion?
for pictures, I don't have a problem.
So do we want to motion it, or are we
I
in
don't think
agreement
it-
that it
if
doesn't
it's-
even
if
need
it's only for
a,
photographs, I don't think it
that
requires
it didn't even need a
permit.
permit, a permission?
I mean, but I don't know, it might, okay, I see what you're saying, that the photographs wouldn't even take a permit would be your, okay.
I wouldn't think so.
We're just trying to do everything in the right order.
Okay.
Gonna get an elephant and helium one that's like one of them big gorillas.
Wire frame and paper mache.
Since the permit
How
has,
about we, I'll note in the minutes that the commissioners are all in agreement with the photos being taken.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea to put something positive in to let the group know that you're approving
Yeah.
it.
okay, that'll work.
Appreciate you asking though, instead of just doing it. Because like I said, most people just do it, which I understand. It's,
Well, we don't want to cause a ruckus. We don't want to,
yeah.
put in the proper paperwork if we had to. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
That's fair.
You bet. Okay,
I need this over here.
any other miscellaneous topics?
Yeah. Okay, so did anybody contact Mr. Fortman on the top of the well house at Sunny Meadows?
I did.
Do we need to talk about it?
We can just, looking for a different way to cover that, water supply tank, and, I did go out and tarp that over, so it's covered up. And, in the meantime, we're okay till it freezes, obviously, but I'm looking for a different way to cover that. It needs to be a bigger, he did tell me that at one time it got cold enough, it actually froze in underneath that well, that cover.
Did it really?
Yeah, because it's so small footprint, the frost got underneath and actually froze the pipes underground, under the cover. So we need a bigger cover, and I'm thinking about a 1,500 gallon water storage tank, cut the bottom out of it, foam the inside of it, set it over the top.
Something I had a question too is, even on them cloudy days, you do get some solar radiation heat. Would it be possible for the top of the tank to allow pass-through of like solar energy, I'm not solar panels, but at least solar radiant heating coming through?
The only problem with that, if it doesn't, sun doesn't shine that particular day, and that night it goes down to zero, you're gonna lose more heat than you're ever gonna gain.
The foam will hold, the
Because of
foam
the
would hold
long
it.
nights and the temperature difference.
That's true.
And this thing's gonna have probably 3 inches of spray and foam, 3
Yeah.
or 4 inches, so it'll be super insulated.
I don't think that would ever freeze with what you're talking about because you have the heat of the water coming out of the ground
Yeah.
and the water is flowing, almost all, is flowing a lot, right?
Yeah.
Bulb in there.
And part of the problem with that cover that's on there now, it's well insulated, but there's air infiltration, more
Yeah,
likely coming through.
you wouldn't
it.
have any air filtration with
Yeah.
this foamed.
Where this thing with the dome is nothing's gonna get through it.
I like that idea.
I'll keep pursuing that, see if I can find a used one.
Okay.
New ones
He's
are
talking
about,
about taking like a half of
Yeah.
the tank, cutting in half.
yeah,
Yeah, I like that idea.
okay. Anything else?
Okay, so we do have 2 sheriff vehicles. One of them was involved in a crash and considered a total loss. The other one is decommissioned and ready to be auctioned off. So I need a motion and approval for Bill to sign these 2 titles so they can go forward.
So moved.
And seconded.
Motion is second for the president to sign the 2 titles. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
All right, so
Oh, excuse me.
okay, then we have, I'll pass them around, but I'll want them back. These have to do with the, well, you guys might already have them, have to do with the bat thing, whatever that is. removal, yeah. Batman. So we need to approve the terms and conditions with advance, whoever that is.
Bill Knapp, he doesn't actually have a contract,
Yes.
he just said if we could sign the quote, and he sent along the terms and conditions page, so it looked official, but
Giving us a 1-year exclusion guarantee or so.
yeah, 1-year warranty, and spraying for the bugs and getting rid of the bats, and getting rid of the bats immediately rather than in the fall. So
Does that include replacing the ceiling tile,
that includes disposing of the ceiling tile.
disposing of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna take it out, clean all that up, get a dumpster, throw all that stuff away, but we'll have to replace the tile.
How many tile are we talking, do we know?
Don't know until you get up in there. Almost virtually everything in the public defender's office, I think, is gonna need to be replaced. I don't know how far that's gonna extend in there, because most of that's open
Yeah.
up through that space.
We do get 40% kickback from the state for any of the affected areas of the public defender, so,
Well, plus, like they did with the windows, Mark will file
yeah.
for the other parts of the building. I think we've got 25% on the windows.
Yeah, see what we can get,
So,
since it's all contingent.
yeah, I mean, and,
Could say it affects the whole building, therefore they need to take all of it.
yeah, and technically, we could turn it into insurance too, because this kind of infestation is.
That's not
is covered
insurance
by-
coverable.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it is.
Oh. So we could maybe
But-
do an insurance claim too?
I don't know what our deductible is.
We can't do both. I
No, you
mean, we
can't do
can't get
both.
the reimbursement from, the 40% reimbursement and turn it in.
I suspect that once we get the reimbursement from the state for 40%, we're gonna be under our deductible anyway.
Would that be just for the back control, or does that include the
So
ceiling
that'll
tile?
include the damage to the ceiling tile.
That would
replacement,
include
too.
that damage. Yeah, that's probably gonna put us underneath. And maybe maintenance could do the replacement of those tile.
Yeah,
Yeah, once it's cleaned up, anyone could put
yeah,
it.
just, all you got, it's all drop ceiling.
Yeah, you just wouldn't want anyone up there until it's cleaned up. You
Right.
breathe that guano, it's not good for you.
Right. Okay.
You guano man.
So he's gonna come in, the 14th, 15th, and 16th. And, get rid of the bats. I called, Chief Heffelfinger, and they're gonna block that street off so he can run his lift around,
Yeah.
on the 15th. And then he'll come back the following weekend and get rid of all the mess and tiles and everything.
Okay. Motion to approve the contract.
So moved.
I will second.
A motion and second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Is there a certain place you want me to pay for this from?
Courthouse maintenance.
Batman account.
Probably our building maintenance fund
Yeah.
or numbers, what is that? Building maintenance fund.
But not your lighted funds, like,
I would think it would be just general building maintenance.
I'm just double checking.
I mean, I'm sure.
Okay, you guys all need to sign on this, please.
I think just Bill.
Just sign on any line it says.
Any line that's open?
Yeah, underneath where it says, sign on any line, please.
I'll sign too.
What's next, Susan?
Okay, so that's that. Okay, so Ben's not coming today. He had worked with Jack, and Jack sent 4 proposals from Security Automation Systems for, I don't even know what this is for. Surveillance video access to the highway truck storage and shop project. Looks like there's two for each. Did you guys look at those? Okay.
Andrew, you had some comments on that.
Yes.
You broke that out into,
I looked at those, yes.
That's what you sent me.
I was just concerned that the access hardware.
Oh, we're talking about the security at the.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I read
You
that,
guys seen that?
Yeah.
yeah.
So my concern was that I know you're not allowed to artificially split out projects. Splitting hardware from, splitting, equipment from all that seems like it would be like saying I'm buying
Installation.
the labor to lay it down on the road. Allowed to make that kind of. I think audio or I think that splitting video from the access, those are two different things. That makes sense, but it sounds like the access hardware alone is almost
So this is depending on whether it needs to be bid out. Is that
Yes.
where we're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
and
that was just my thought. I was concerned.
And are they gonna
with violating that.
Are they, do they want to split the labor from the hardware purchase? I think that's a bad idea. I'll tell you why, when it doesn't work, well, it's not our product, they didn't configure it right, or they didn't wire it right. You know, I've been down this road many
It's
times.
the same company.
Oh, by the same company.
It's the same
Oh, it's the
company.
same company,
They're just
okay.
different.
I'm just talking about whether
quotes.
official bidding is required.
Yes.
I see.
what was the situation? They could not get a bid? Jack couldn't get a bid on this? Was that what he was saying? As a
No, I don't
as a
think he's saying you
package?
couldn't get a bid. I think they were just proposing it without going through the bidding process.
They're very adamant about what company furnishes the hardware and installation. Jack is.
Oh,
Okay, so the email to everybody from Ben says, here are the quotes Jack received from SAS for the new highway security and access system. I know Jack has worked hard trying to get other quotes for this project, but was unsuccessful for getting anyone to work with him on quotes back.
I see.
Okay, so maybe that answered that
That's what I was,
question
So
potentially.
that leads to my,
Why do I think that our bid ceiling is 150,000?
Okay,
I think that was changed,
that could have been raised.
yeah.
Okay.
50, I know it used to be 50, but
you might be right.
I'm almost sure it is.
I'll see if I can do a quick check on
All
it here.
right.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm almost thinking that highway has a different value. Like maybe highways is higher than me. You're not gonna want me to do something for
Well, the
200,000 just-
highway projects maybe, but this is a highway construct, or a highway building. It might fall in a different category as far as their max too.
right?
is this just access equipment for our guys to get in and out of the gate?
And surveillance.
This is cameras and it started out as blown out of proportion. It did cut back some on it, but it still may be,
The only
the
reason
place is
I,
gonna be more secure than community corrections almost.
the only reason I ask this, and I know we've ran a horrible building for the last 50 years, but to my knowledge, that building is so unsecured where we're at now, I can go right through any of them fences with a pair of bolt cutters, not even that. And once I'm behind the building, I can do whatever I want. No one can even see me back there. And we haven't had any real issues. Do we really want to spend $50, $100, $150,000 for these super high security systems that always need maintenance in the future? That, you know, I just think it's a lot of money for something that we're already pushing a huge budget on. And I'd like to see a more basic security system, in my opinion. I just don't think, I think and it don't matter how good of a security system you put in, these cameras. I have super high-end cameras in at the car lot. These people stole a $50,000 car from me. I gave the police the video and they just laughed. They said, unless we can see the color of their eyes, tattoos, you know, this, that, and measure their height. And I said, just rip the cameras out. I don't even want to see them stolen anymore.
Oh,
So
good, yeah.
just something to think about. It's a lot of money.
I agree. And the fact we
The
can't get,
access is one thing. I don't
Yeah.
know about all the cameras.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, we better talk to insurance trustees.
Yeah, I think
before we
you-
start pulling stuff out to see if there's
Yeah.
any rate.
I think you need a certain amount of cameras to see people come in and out.
Yeah, at the gate.
And you need maybe a secure gate, but let's not get too crazy with this, you know?
Like I say, the original proposal on this was more strict than what we have out at Central
And let's
Communications.
not
We're
make the
not-
mistake we made at Community Corrections where you flash your ID and then you're trying to get into the gate and it takes 2 minutes to open and then you gotta wait for it to shut, which takes another 2
Yeah,
minutes.
Central Dispatch.
You just paid the driver $1.85 to sit there watching the gate open and close, you know?
Right. Let's, well, how should we,
Well, we're going to talk about it at our next construction meeting, I suppose.
That's probably where it should
be
be done.
Thursday, this Thursday.
I think it should be talked about at the construction meeting. It's a good idea.
And I did the research, and in between 50,000 to 150,000, you're supposed to try to get 3 quotes, and it sounds like Jack did that and was only able to get 1 quote. So I think we're okay on that.
So
if it's under
150 is the bid ceiling.
You were right,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah.
150 is the bid ceiling.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay, we'll bring that up at the highway meeting Thursday at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it back next week.
Yes.
Okey-dokey.
You want me to bring this back next week?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, the other thing, and I don't know if we need to do anything with it. Ben had sent the traffic counts for County Road 20 and County Road 44. NERC did not make any recommendations for action on those because they were all running at reasonable speeds. So I don't really think that you guys need to do anything, but I wanted to make sure you did see that he sent that all to you.
I did see them.
Did or did not?
I did, yes.
I
Not
disagree.
exactly the busiest,
I disagree with 22, though. That's a dangerous road. Go drive it at 55 mile an hour and tell me that you want your kid in a car pulling out of one of them driveways. I've never seen, it's one of the most dangerous roads we got in this county.
The numbers are so low on that. Some people have to be driving 10 miles an hour, and I don't understand how they come up with the numbers. I think the one road was, the average was 32 miles an hour or something like that. That's an average.
Well, if they're driving that slow, that tells you it's dangerous, is what
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well, and the other thing I find out about this, of course, this is a state thing, the condition of the road, they do not consider that when
Right.
they set the speed limit.
Right.
So they can be
It's all
jump.
sight distance and,
Yeah, yeah, and
And I'm not even saying the condition road, I'm just telling you, drive your truck 55 mile an hour down that road and tell me that's safe. And I'll tell you what, I'll drive, I can be a fast driver at times, and I was in Ben's truck at 40, and I said, this is the absolute maximum I'd want to go down this road. So I don't care what NERC says on that one, I think we should lower the speed limit on it.
I do too.
I just don't think it's safe.
Nope. Nope. Okay.
So do you want to do something now, or do you want to wait to talk to Ben?
We'll talk to Ben next week on it.
Yeah, I think we should talk to Ben, he's
Yeah.
the highway superintendent.
Yeah.
I don't think you
Anything
can
else?
arbitrarily, without a traffic study that justifies lowering the speed limit, I don't think we can do it.
Oh, we can do it. They're a recommendation of a standard, but we can do whatever we want. We can close the road if we want to. But we go to them for protection on the upper end. In other words, if we say, hey, we want to take this to 55, and they do a study and say, we see too much traffic, you better leave it at 45, that protects us. But it protects us even further if we lower the speed limit. I'm just telling you from my personal experience driving it, and that's my only, I couldn't believe that road was 55.
We got a lot of roads that shouldn't be
And there's a lot of them
55.
that shouldn't be. But, you know, now that I feel as though if someone gets hurt on that road, me knowing that I think it's not safe, I feel personally responsible for it.
Okay.
And it is a low-use road, though, don't get me wrong. So, just my opinion.
What else?
We need to talk to Ben.
Yeah,
Are you,
I think that's
are you
good point.
done? We are closing in on the break and the,
Pledge.
anything else? Gentlemen?
Nothing for me.
The only thing I've got is the State Health Commission recommendation plan, whatever you want to call it. I think we need to do something with that sooner than later.
I think so too, because Cheryl needs to be able to figure that in her budget if we're gonna opt in. Because that's another slightly over $1 million of health department funding.
What's your recommendation? Opt in or opt out?
I think we should opt in. Unless the legislation gets changed, I think it's nothing but a benefit.
Todd?
I just, they work very hard there. We're having a hard time finding nurses. We could hire nurses with the money, but we also take on additional responsibility. And we're also, let's not forget, we're throwing $200,000 into the kitty to get the $1 million.
No, we're not.
That's not what it,
We are not putting any additional funding in there to get the money.
oh, I thought we had to throw in $200,000 in order to.
No, we already provide that funding, so that is the match right there. Is the money that we provide the health department every year
So
covers that, so there is no additional outlay from the county.
So the statement is, or our qualification is that we already fund a certain amount. And is that the minimum threshold, is the 200 then? That must be funded in order to,
Yeah, that's a little over 200, yeah.
sorry?
It's a little over 250 or 200,000.
Okay.
But whatever the average of the last 3 years more than covers the match for us to get that funding.
And what's the benefit of the $1 million they give us? What do we do to receive the $1 million, or what it's expected of us? Because Dr. Souter didn't give me a definite.
Well, it's not that he doesn't have all the information. It's
If you, Mike.
yes. So part of that, the whole legislation is offering additional core services. For instance, smoking cessation. I don't have my folder with me. I got a whole folder on that stuff.
More core services.
Yeah. Now, what that doesn't mean, though, is that the state tells us what to do at the local level. So, for instance, let's just say, well, this is a really good example. Drug-free DeKalb has a robust smoking program, or smoking cessation program. So we don't have to hire somebody in the health department to do smoking cessation. All we simply partner with Drug-Free DeKalb, and they provide those services. So that gives Cheryl the option to hire the RNs that she needs, or whatever people that she needs to do the services that we need to do in the county, and partner with Parkview, Lutheran Health, whatever, for the services that are already offered by somebody else. We don't have to personally provide those services. We just those services need to be available in the county.
Where are we currently lacking in our ability to service our taxpayers in DeKalb County through the?
That's a question much better answered by Dr. Souter.
And that's what the answer I couldn't get.
Yeah.
Mark will be glad to come in.
I'm not sure we are lacking.
Well, no, I couldn't get an answer, and I doubt if you'll get Mark in here, just because I have a hard time getting him to go to dinner at midnight.
Well, I can pretty well assure you he thinks this is important enough that he'd come in.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
And we'll pick it up after.
Yeah.
After, yeah.
Okey doke.
All right, we are back on the clock. And we've got 13 minutes to our executive session, so anything else we need to discuss on this?
I handed out what the core funding requirement, core value things were for the health dollars.
Mic's on.
So that's 60%.
Of the funding they give us.
Yeah, spent on that, no more than 40% spent on
On
those
this.
things which are
Okay.
less important,
Okay.
so. You know, I think we need to give the health department an opportunity to weigh in. There's been a lot of conversation on this. If you want some additional information or resources, I'm sure that Representative Smaltz might be willing to come in and talk about the legislation. Commissioner Streeter from Knox County is not only a county commissioner, but she also runs a health department. So she's very familiar with this from both sides of the area. She's indicated she'd be willing to zoom in and talk about things. I mean, there's a huge amount of information and resources available. But you know, I think we have to give some serious consideration to the amount of money that we can put into the health system in DeKalb County without really any other than some additional reporting, which it looks like is not going to be too onerous anyway. You know, I think we at least owe it to our constituents to take a good look at it and make sure we're operating with facts and not just.
I guess the question I have about it is, I know they pulled a lot of the restrictions and requirements out of the bill because of pushback. What's to keep them from, in the next legislative session, putting those restrictions and requirements back in?
And you just opt out.
Just opt out. What if they don't give you the ability to opt out? What
But
if they
if you
take
opt
that?
out and you hire a bunch of people, now you got to fire people, and that doesn't go over well. That's the only concern I had.
Considering all the pushback, I mean, realistically, guys, come on. As much pushback as there was and discussion in the legislation, I followed this bill all the way through. That all that stuff was pulled out of the original governor's commission. The chance of the legislators trying to put all that stuff back in just doesn't make any sense at all. I mean,
Oh, it would make sense to me.
Well-
That's what they do all the time.
What, you know, and I run into, the thing I get a little concerned with, you know, funding requirements, at least 60% must be on these services. Student health, I guess I need to read that IC. Is student health pushing that Jenny maybe really be Jeremy and he needs a sex change and the health department's gonna
No.
help him determine that? I mean, this is the stuff I want to really sit down with Souter and Cheryl and say, you know, now that I see this is the first time I've seen this, because I'm open to this, to further look into it. I just want to know.
Student health is vaping, is smoking cessation, is.
I know they
is,
say that. I want to hear it from Souter and from Cheryl,
Yeah.
that how they'll handle it.
Yeah.
Because that's the stuff, this stuff that's being taught to kids, you know, food. You know, they're teaching now that you're better off to eat a box of Cheerios than you are eggs, because the eggs have cholesterol and cereal's better. Well, they're telling people that because cereal's cheap to make and it makes Kellogg's a bunch of money, you know, and I'm not saying we do that as an organization. I just want to make sure, I don't trust the state, and I certainly don't trust the federal government in matters of our health and who we are. So I got to really dig into this. I'm going to just have to tell Souter, hey, we are going to sit down, and Cheryl, and maybe maybe I can learn more.
So from my understanding, because I had asked Cheryl about this, like if it was going to cause her a bunch more work, and she said there is differences that she has to do, but it's not, most of it would be done through a contractual service. So we would be using the money to, but that wouldn't be a lot of the money, where the money coming in, we would be able to pay the contractual service to meet our requirements. Then we'd also be able to fund the large increases that we gave for the nurses so that we can continue, plus do everything else that she may want to do or if something comes up. The other thing is about opting in and opting out. You do have to pass an ordinance, whether you are opting in, and this would be legal, but I would assume that if it's your DeKalb County Commissioner's ordinance, you could put in there that you have the ability to opt out at
Sure.
whatever time so that you have it
There is,
there.
yeah.
And another thing I would like to ask them is, like on COVID, is there a certain target the state's requiring that we administer so many doses? This is a broad thing. I just want to make sure that isn't in the weeds because
It's not, I can tell you that.
Okay.
I've read every word of the bill that passed.
Because I can tell you 2 of my pilot friends are no longer pilots because they took the shot and they got myocarditis and also ruined their lungs.
Other than reporting requirements, there is no state mandates for the local health departments.
Yeah. I looked up the statute on student health that they listed there, subsection 14. This is what it says. Now, it says partnering with schools and school nurses to support student health, including the following: evidence-based education on nutrition and physical activity. That doesn't sound to necessarily hit that area you were talking about. Hearing screenings, vision screenings, and oral health screenings.
Yeah.
That's all that references.
Okay. All right.
Currently at this time, anyway.
Yeah. And that's fine. That's what I need to hear is I need to research this. Now that I see where they want the money to go, I need to dig into this a little further. I'm not ready to vote on this today.
No,
Oh, no, I don't.
I think we need to get into it though and be ready in maybe
Yeah, we
a
need to
week
get
or
more
two.
serious for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well, the opt-in date is September 1st.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But again.
Gotta prepare, though.
If we're gonna let them take advantage of the money, Cheryl needs to be able to put
Yeah.
that in her budget.
No, that was my thought too.
Yeah.
So we need to get out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? We got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes
Have
to kill.
anything.
Nothing?
Here, take 5 minutes to sign that.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's see how we do this here. 5 minutes.
If there is nothing else, then we
Close it
will
out.
get this signed.
There you
That's
go.
done. We will stand adjourned.
I can get you tons of information on this stuff.
Yeah.
I've set up 2 or 3 meetings with Mark and the State Health Department. And, well, Dr. Box retired, but
Dr. who?
Dr. Box.
Oh,
Dr.
yeah.
Wells is
Yeah.
You're welcome.
taking over for her, but, I mean, I can put you in touch with anybody you want to talk to about it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not completely against it. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure we're not, just don't trust the feds anymore or the state
Federal,
when it
there
when
is
it comes.
Yeah, there's no federal in that.
No, but the feds are what prints money to hand to the states so they can do stuff